Georgia, born right here. I wasn't born at Grady. I was born at Crawford. But I love Grady. I love it. My mama was bougie, and she said she wasn't going to Grady. So I'm sorry. We had insurance. I'm just listening. No, I was born right here in Atlanta, Georgia. When I was a teen, I had a car. I had a Dodge Charger. My mom, bought me a Dodge Charger, and I would come to Clayton County. And I would come to the mall, and it was so vibrant. I remember there was a Ruby Tuesdays there, and there was Macy's. Well, was it Macy's back then? It was called Rich's back then. Yeah, and I would come, and I was like, oh my God, this is just the best place. Clayton was booming, and I said when I visited the mall on those many days that I would come out here, so I'm going to live out here one day, not knowing that I was really going to be living out here one day. But again, like I said, it's always been in me. As I was growing up, my father, he was the head of Economic Opportunity Atlanta. And so he worked for Maynard Jackson. And so when he worked in the community, guys, he was, and I'm just saying this to everyone, and I don't know if you all remember the government milk and butter and cheese. He would man the hubs, the workforce development hubs in the community with our women. We had a lot of women who lived in different projects throughout Atlanta. You had your Herndon homes and your Perry homes and your East Lake Meadows. So he was responsible, and he would take a bus out into the community, and he would take me with him because we lived in middle class Atlanta. Andrew Young lived behind me. Shirley Franklin lived down the street. And I think Richard Pryor's lawyer was right there in the community. So I was right there, and as I grew up, I was like, oh God, we got money. I was in the Black Mecca. Everybody, I got what I wanted. I had what I wanted every Christmas. But he wanted me to see something different. He didn't want me to just grow up knowing that, hey, we've got this money, but there's another side. There's people out here that are struggling. There's people out here that need help. And you've got to be there to do that, just like as I am. And my father inbred that into me, y'all. He would take me out, and we would go, and we would give out the government milk and cheese and butter. But he would also have me out there playing with the kids. So y'all know where that led me. Because as I was out there playing with the kids, everybody liked to fight. Everybody liked to do different things. But, I weathered those storms. And I learned that people are people, no matter who they are. Whether they come from poverty-stricken places, whether you're middle class, or whether you're, whether you're in the high class rank, millionaires. And so that's why I think I'm so successful as being a commissioner now, because I just believe in giving back to everybody, because I don't care where you come from. I don't care if you're here. I don't care if you're down here. We all need help, whether it be mental health at some point in time, or whether it's even money. But what I think that really led me to this was my father instilling in me those values as a young child, showing me other parts of life, showing me that people are people no matter who they are, and that he was one that served everybody. He didn't care if it was Joe Blow on the street or if it was the president of the United States. So that is how I got here. And not only that, just hard work. When I became the Clayton County, I came doing the accreditation areas, but I had a mentor. I had a mentor that was John Trotter. And I didn't even know I was going to be running for office. I thought, I was going to be an educator. And, as I got my degrees and as I moved up, because I was always one, I said, no, even when I got in the classroom, I'm like, I'm not going to be in the classroom all of my life. I'm going to be the principal or the superintendent. Mm-hmm. So that's where I thought I was going. But God saw something different for me. He put me in politics, kind of like my dad instilled in me, because he knew there was a bigger frame that he wanted for my life. And that was to serve people and take care of the community and make sure that people were taken care of when nobody else was listening or looking. And so I thank him for that. And then as I came to Clayton County, I actually ran against Commissioner Gregory. And that was, it was kind of hilarious, because she said, now, I know you ran against me this last time, but when we lost accreditation, she said, but I think you need to run for this, okay? And get out of my lane right now, But Commissioner Gregory was who she was, and she said what she said, and that was it. And so I was sitting in my classroom one day, I had pre-K, and I saw Clayton County is about to lose accreditation. I walked down the hallway, saw my principal. I said, listen, I'm getting ready to run for school board. The first thing she said, have you lost your mind? She said, you going where? I said, I'm going to Clayton County. I said, something is going on with this accreditation. I live in Clayton County. I had moved to Clayton County in 2004, been here 4 years or whatever. And I said, I'm going to run for this position. She said, okay, I'll support you. And that is what I did. I ran for the position and I won. And then I got a bigger picture. As I was talking to one of our superintendents one day, I thought, and I kept saying, I said, how can we revamp this mall and get it better? So I had a vision that God showed me for a convocation center there, because I knew that we needed something big in this county to bring in revenue. So I told Dr. Beasley, I said, look, my cohorts, Barry Baker, Jesse Gore Reed, they're fussing about, we need somewhere, we shouldn't be paying $500,000 for our kids to graduate down at the Dome. Why don't we just build a convocation center? Possibly we were going to put it in Jonesboro. I said, no, put it at the mall. You can save the mall this way and you can get some things done. And then I went from there. So once I had the vision of building that, and I said, now I got to run for commissioner, because I want to do a little bit more on the commission side, because if I can build this infrastructure, the mall, and bring this convocation center, what can I do for the whole community? And so that's why I'm here as your chairwoman today.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I know it was a lot, y'all, but
I
I want y'all to know where the vision and where the guidance from the Lord came.
Sure. And I've got a follow-up to that. You mentioned your role with the school board in the accreditation process. How do we move forward now supporting the youth and continuing to support their education?
Well, one thing that we have to do is we have to get that back down to the basics with our youth. And that means all of us coming together in the community. When we talk about train up a child in the way he or she should go, and when he departs, we want to make sure that we are training up our children together. This is something that we have to do. Everybody has gotten the mindset of, I can't say something to little John because of this, or I can't say something. But whenever I'm in the store and I see a child acting up, and that just might be the teacher in me, I look a certain way, and I say, get back up for that with your mom. And I can do it, and I get away with it, and I know we all can't do it, But at the end of the day, we've got to get our youth. We've got to get back into this community with our youth, and we can't just start when they get in high school and say, "Hey, you're in high school now. What do you want to do in life?" No, this starts from birth. When that child is sitting there in that mommy's stomach, you should be reading to that child. We should be making sure that we're putting books from this library into those mothers' hands so they can be reading to that child. And then we move on to pre-K and our 3-year-old programs. And then we even start 3rd through 5th grade. Let's start looking at, hey, what do you want? When we ask them, what do they want to be in life? We need to start putting them, Tiger Woods, he didn't wait. His father didn't wait. Or Sabrina, they didn't wait till their children got in high school and started training them for golf and tennis. They started training them when they were young, when they came out that womb. And so we've got to instill that into our young people. And some of us as women, we're going to have to step up and mentor other women. They say women can't work together, but yes, we can. We can work together. And we're going to have to take some of these women and pull them along. Because guess what? I wasn't always Dr. Anderson. Even though I grew up in Southwest Atlanta, even though I had everything, guess what, y'all? I had some hard times. I had to go on welfare. I had to get food stamps. I had to do all of that as I was taking my journey to get where I was. But you know what? That humbled me, because God had to show me that, guess what? It's not about you. It's about the people that you serve and where you're going with that. So again, we've got to take those youth and their mothers and their fathers, all of that, because it's a community effort. When they broke up, and I know I'm preaching, but when they broke up the projects back in the day, y'all remember when they broke up the projects and everybody came to Clayton County? They didn't teach anybody how to take care of a yard. They didn't teach anybody that you had to put your trash out in the trash can and roll your Herbie down. They didn't teach you that you had to have a budget to plan and what you needed to be a homeowner. They just broke everything up. So now we've got to get that generation back. And we've got to start teaching their children and their children's children. And we've got to break those generational curses, y'all. And we've got to come together as a county. I always say, whether we like each other or not, and we, as the leaders of this county, have to put back into our children and their parents and even our seniors, so we can make sure that we keep moving along productive citizens that can have a sustainable life and live in this county.
Thank you for that. And I've got another piggyback on the housing situation. So for Clayton County, how can we ensure that Clayton County residents can maintain and keep their houses in this time where everything is increasing? Property taxes, groceries, I can't buy eggs now. So with everything increasing, how can we maintain and ensure our residents can maintain their homes?
So as a board, one thing that we've been doing is looking at our budget and looking at our budgeting process and looking at sales tax dollars and things of that nature. One thing we can do, and I want to definitely look at, we can provide resolutions. We can look at how we budget ourselves as a board, and how does that help you? Because when we as a board bring in sales tax dollars versus putting everything on the property owner, which means that you all are basically the people who have homes are basically sustaining this county through your property taxes. But what we have to do is stop depending on you all. We've got to bring in sales tax dollars by bringing in companies such as Topgolf, restaurants, things of that nature. Now, people are like, well, Dr. Anderson, y'all keep bringing in warehouses. That's what I've said. A warehouse only gets me sales tax dollars once a year. But when you're shopping every day and you're going into that Family Dollar, which I know we don't like Family Dollar, but you're going into that steakhouse or you're going into that arena or whatever on a daily basis, that brings us sales tax dollars. And we have some counties that don't even look at sales tax dollars, don't even look at property taxes anymore, because they have $500 million worth of sales tax dollars that are coming into their county. Now we have to start doing the same thing. As your chairwoman, along with my board members, we have to change our mindset. We can't keep saying, well, Dr. Anderson, if you build, how are you all going to sustain with the school system? How are you going to sustain with the library? We all work together and we build it together and we get ready for we get the infrastructure together. We get all of that together. And that's how we move, and that's how we help our homeowners. Because I don't ever want to go up on taxes. I've felt the brunt of it right here in my own household. When you have to make sure that you have to pay $2,000 to keep your house note down. And when you have all of that money that you have to come up with every year, or you don't have the $2,000 to keep your house note down and to pay into your escrow. And then your house note goes from $1,300 to $1,500. So guess what? We are living in real world situations, and you have a real world commissioner that understands. And so that's how we're going to work together as a community. When you all have restaurants that want to come, send them to me. When you have a steakhouse or you have a live, work, eat, and play that wants to come, send them to me. We have to have we can't just do flat land houses anymore. You got condos here and you got, apartments here. We have to have multi-family communities that have restaurants, shopping, all of that. That's how our other communities are sustained. And that's how we're going to sustain. And not just work. And then people are always like, well, I don't want affordable housing. No, we're not going to call it affordable housing. We're going to call it attainable housing, meaning that we're going to show you when it's time to buy your house or when it's time for you to live there, we're going to take you through a credit process. We're going to look at your credit. We're going to talk about how you're going to take out your trash. We're going to talk about how you're going to keep your house. We got to tell you how to clean your house. We're going to do all of that. And we're not just going to bring in builders and real estate agents that just want to come in and sell your house and they're gone. They're going to educate the consumer. We're going to look at the HUD programs and all of that, because we can't just let people keep coming into our community, taking from us and not giving back. So that's how we're going to help for us not to gentrify and all of that, and making sure we get those sales tax dollars into this community where we don't have to keep depending on those our property owners like you and I. But we have those sales tax dollars, and we can take those taxes down from $4,000 to maybe $1,000. So that's how we're going to move it. All right.
Thank you. Thank you. So there have been several department head meetings that I've attended recently, and there is a phrase that you have repeated, and I want you to have the opportunity to share. What are the 3 C's?
The 3 C's, I just want to say that was another God-given vision. I thought about this. I said, as I was sitting there, how do I want to come as your new chairwoman? And I looked at our county as a whole. And as I looked at our county as a whole, the first thing I thought about was collaboration. I said, we've got to collaborate. We've got to collaborate. I can't do this by myself. The library can't do it by itself. Sure. The school system can't do it by itself. And none of my departments can do it by itself. The mall can't even do it by itself. Everybody has to collaborate. And that's the hardest thing that's out there that we try to get people to do. Because people say, I want to collaborate. I want to do this. But then the ego comes in. And then, hey, this comes. But you know what? We're past that. We at this point in time, we don't have a choice, Clayton County. We've got to collaborate. We have so many great things. We sit right in here. We sit right in here by the world's busiest airport. 80 to 90% of that airport sits in Clayton County. And when I thought about collaboration, I said, Delta, what better partner to collaborate with as well? Delta, they've been right out there, but they were just waiting on us to do what, y'all? Collaborate.
Just ask, yeah.
Just ask. And I went and I asked, and I think and I asked, and I said, and the plan was out there, but I'm still asking, because I know we need workforce development. I know we need some other things besides what we're going to get with the $16 million that we're asking for. And they're saying, hey, we're here. We want to give this over a five-year period. We want to help Clayton County. And so we have to ask. I know people are saying, oh, you do this. No, we need to have 25 billion right now. But guess what? It don't work like that. Unfortunately, it does not work like that. But fortunately, it works when we collaborate. Fortunately, it works when we have a commissioner, commissioners, and a chairwoman, and a community that understands. And will we get to that point one day? Yes, but we gotta start somewhere. And then when we talk about communication, that's the second C. I think I'm flipping them around, but they're all important. But when we talk about communication, this is the key. Having forums like this, hearing our vision, not my vision, our vision for the community. You all also telling me what you want. I have a goal that I want to do a Clayton County Chairwoman's Advisory Board. We're going to get to that point. That means we'll come in forums like this and talk and just say, hey, District 1, what do you need? District 2, what do you need? District 3, what do you need? District 4, what do you need? When I was the District 1 commissioner, one thing that I did to communicate with my citizens is I made sure that I did something called CPUs, and they were community planning units. But before the citizens could really get into the I call it the meat of things, I educated them first. What does zoning look like? What are some things that, if your neighbor is building a fence down the street, do they have to come and get a certificate or something to pay for that? So I wanted them to know what zoning looked like, what things look like. And so I think that's going to be very important as we talk about, coming up with this advisory board. It's going to be education. It's going to be a collaboration. It's going to be a plethora of things that we bring together, because I I don't believe in putting things in, back. I want you all to know everything that we know. And so, because I'm not going to always be here. You understand what I'm saying? So I want you educated. And then the last thing is consistency, meaning you do what you say that you're going to do. Stop talking all the time. A lot of times, people get a little upset with me because I say, okay, I've sat here and listened to you all talk for 30 minutes. Now I need you to show me how you're going to put this into action. Okay? Because at the end of the day, we can talk all day. But if there's no action behind our words, if we're not moving, what are we talking about? You all, as citizens, I'm a citizen. I'm tired of hearing everybody talking. I want to see I want to see the building erect. I want to see the people get fed. I want to see all of that. So again, if I want to see it, I know you want to see it. Yeah. And so we've got to be consistent. We've got to do what we say we're going to do. And we got to hold me accountable. And you accountable too. Because this is your community. And I've just been sitting here as a conduit through God to help us to speak the vision, write the vision, make it plain. But I can't do it if you all don't buy into the vision. That's with anything that we do in this world. So I need everybody knowing we've got to have these sales tax dollars. We've got to have everything, and we've got to be consistent. And we can't just put some down on the paper and then come back 6 months and it's still not done. I expect to see things get done, and that's what I relate to my staff, and that's what I'm relaying to you all as the citizens who are looking at this broadcast as well that are sitting here today.
Thank you so much. Looking back at the South Metro Development Conference, you were on a panel with some of the other chairwomen in the metro area. Can you elaborate a little bit on that experience and networking and working collaboratively with those chairwomen of other counties?
Yes, I definitely can. We, as chairwomen, we do have a mentor. Our mentor is Shirley Franklin. And so when I think about who we all, kind of collaborate together and pick, we could have not picked a better mentor. When it comes down to learning county government, when it comes down to the knowledge and the wisdom that she just imparts in us as women, it's been a spiritual journey, just a journey of legacy, a journey of everything. We could not ask for a better woman who has been around men. She always talks about how she was that little lady and around all these powerful men, that were before her, the Maynard Jacksons and the Andrew Youngs. But guess what? They all collaborated with her and took her in too as well and worked with her through her journey. So now she's collaborating with us and working with us through our journey. We actually have a group text that we text each other on. Hey, what are y'all doing down in Clayton County? How do your department heads kind of get out in the community and let the community know what's going on? Oh, well, they go to the mall and, they set up around the mall, and so we're always throwing out ideas to each other. And then we always seem to be on panels together. And the SMDO conference was the best place to be. Michael Hightower, which I also remember as a child in Atlanta, he was definitely very instrumental in Atlanta, Georgia. He was one of the we got commissioners there. Councilman. And so Michael, he's a mentor as well. But this conference, the conference that he has, it talks about economic development, government issues, things of that nature. So we all get a chance to come there and talk about what's going on in our backyards. And so being on that panel that day, we were able to tell a lot about ourselves, who we were, where we were going as a county. And one of the most powerful things I think that I can bring back from that day is Chairwoman Harrell talked about 200 acres that we in Clayton County own at the Henry County Airport. And she talked about it that day because she said, Dr. Anderson and I are collaborating because we don't know if gaming is going to come. We don't know what's going to come. But she said, I'm getting ready to go into the airport and start rebuilding our airport at Henry County because I want to make that airport usable. And I want to make it where, hey, G5s can fly in. And, if we get a Harris Casino, I'm not saying we're going to have one. But if we get some type of, we don't know but with that land, we know that that's 200 acres that we can collaborate on and build together. And so that's what having those powerful women around, collaborating with them and learning is always a good thing. I'm always learning. We don't know everything. And so when you think you know everything, you really don't. Because it's always something else to teach you. But having them there with me and collaborating with me and communicating with me has been the best part of this journey as I've come into this role.
Very nice, very nice. So coming up in a few days, we've got an event, State of the County.
Yes.
Would you like to talk about that and how you intend to get your message out to a much broader community, a much broader audience about what we're doing here in the county?
Yes, sir. So the background knowledge, as we look at the state of the county, what we do is, and I don't know if many of you all know this, but we ask all of the directors in the county to come up with something that is great about your department. And then they send in their goodies and things of that nature. Then I go in and I highlight those things. And then what we start doing is we kind of pull all of that together. Then we also talk about our vision for the county as we talk about what we will be building throughout the county, the economic development, the infrastructure, MARTA, we talk about that. We talk about the transportation. We talk about all of that, everything that workforce development. We talk about economic development. We talk about everything that deals with this county, government, federal things. We just came back from NACO, which is a federal conference that I love to attend. When I was on the school board, I was a legislative liaison. And so when I would go up, I would meet with David and John Lewis. So this time I'm kind of learning everything, y'all. So now when I go up, I went to the part of the conference. So now when I go up, I'll be able to meet with Nakima and Williams, and I'll be able to meet with David again, as we go up. And then our conference, but I'm going to do those meetings basically here in the county because I kind of feel more comfortable with them coming to me. I've also met with Warnock, some of his people via Zoom to talk about Delta as well. I had to get those in. But as we look at the state of the county, it's going to cover everything, from our legislative priorities on down to our needs throughout the county, from the library system on up to, on up to county government, everything. And so again, in this role, I've got to cover everything. I can't, Clayton County, we need infrastructure, we need housing, we need everything. When people ask me, well, what do you need, Dr. Anderson? When I go in these meetings, I say everything, everything. We need everything. And not saying that's to alert us. No, it's to make us better. It's to make us get on our A game. It's to make us kind of think, hey, what could I bring? Hey, I got this parcel next to my house. I got this parcel down the street. Let me go talk to Chick-fil-A, not even Chick-fil-A, whoever. Let me go talk to this restaurant. I wonder what they like to come here. So we've got to just start, making sure we change our way of thinking. I'm going to be talking about that, a mind shift, and that's what we talk about with our directors, the shift. That shift started when I became commissioner, and now that shift is going to continue as I am the chairwoman of this county.
Very nice, very nice. Yes. For those who are passionate about their communities and want to make a change, want to make a difference, are there tidbits, or how would you instruct them or guide them into getting into local politics so that their voice can be heard and they can see positive change in their communities?
That's a great question. I want to say this, and I always speak this. I said, we're not gonna always be here. We have to open the road for others to come in. We have to mentor others to come in. We have Leadership Clayton, which is awesome. I have not been through Leadership Clayton. I came in what they call trial by fire. Do y'all understand? So
I've seen.
you've seen. When I got in, when I came in, I'm just gonna be very frank with you all. I got a call from, I won. I got a call from the governor one night. I'm pulling everybody off the board. I think you're gonna be the chair, and that's how that went. Okay, and then next thing I know, I'm at a meeting, and everybody's hollering at me, and I'm just like, oh, okay, this is what you got me ready for, Lord, thank you. And so, I came in by trial by fire, but I don't want you all to have to come in that way. Again, we have Leadership Clayton. We have the Democratic Party. We have all types of groups throughout. Of course, I'm going to do, the Chairwoman Anderson Advisory Committee. And I already know, I was like, I'm going to try to do 5 people per district. Y'all know no matter what I do, it ends up being big. So it's probably going to be more than 5, but that's okay. And so just stay in the community. Don't just, I even tell people, when you run for office, and even if you don't win, still work with the person that you lost to. Because at the end of the day, even if you're gonna run against them again, you're gonna run anyway. So what can they do? At the end of the day, don't stop. Just do it. Just like Nike says, just do it. You can do anything that you want to do for your community, but you have to continue to do it. I never stop. I even told one person here as I walked in, she said, "Hey, I saw you when you were running." I said, "I'm still running. I'm still running." Because I want you all to know that I'm not just in here because I want to say I'm the chairwoman, and I can't say, I'm not going to say this, Lord, I didn't ask for this, but no, I really had a path that I really thought that I was going to be a superintendent. I was going to be this, I was the teacher. No, actually, I'm going to just break it down to you all even further. I started off at Morris Brown and thought I was going to be a nurse because my grandfather was a doctor. Y'all know my brother's a doctor. And my grandmother was a nurse. And so I thought I was going to go down that path. And guess what happened? Morris Brown lost the accreditation for the nursing program. And so I said, wow. I said, so that was another thing, a glitch in the matrix that God was showing me then, like, oh God, they've lost this accreditation. So I had to go over to Georgia Perimeter College. And I started on my 2-year over there and ended up getting 2 associate's degrees because I had all that science and things like that. That I had started acquiring at Morris Brown. And then I went on up from there until I got my doctorate. But as you all can see, my doctorate is in education. And so I really thought that that's where I was going to be in life. But guess what? Now I'm chairing the council. And so, hey. Absolutely different ways sometimes. Yeah.
Very nice.
So just do it and don't stop. Don't stop. If this is your community and you love what you do, don't worry about what anybody else says. You do what you have to do. Because if I worried about what people say about me, y'all, I would never be here today. How about that?
Yeah, thank you so much. So we got a golf tournament coming up. Yes. Would you like to talk about that? Now, I play golf. I love to play golf. I'm not the best. I may lose a few balls here and there, but I eventually finish. So would you like to talk about the event coming up? Yes,
and I want to say where it comes from, because a lot of times constituents are like, oh my God, here they go with another golf tournament, or they go with this in the community. But let me tell you where this came from. When I came into county government, our police department, sheriff's department, and as well as our fire department had not had a raise in possibly 12 years or whatever. And so as I saw the needs for these departments, my mother was a police officer. And so as I saw those needs, I definitely, I like it. And so as I saw those needs for the community, look, it'll be just like we are in the church. Okay. As I saw those needs for the community, for our police and fire, I said, they're the first ones on the scene. They shouldn't have to lack for anything, more or less. And so I got with my now DCOO, Chief Murkison, and I said, hey, why don't we do a golf tournament? So if there's some things that you all need, you know, I don't know, that y'all need to buy miscellaneous objects or whatever you need to buy for the police department, you got a little cushion, or the fire department or the sheriff's department, you got a little cushion that you'll have some money. And we can do this golf tournament. It can be fun, but it can be to help you all as well. And so I just told him, I said, hey, let's roll with it and let's go. He said, well, I got a name for it. I said, what is it? He said, it's the 18 holes for Hero golf tournament. I said, I love it. He said, guess what? I got $1 million. I said, what? $1 million? I said, what are you going to do with $1 million? We're going to give it away. I said, where'd you get, you know, and I said, where'd you get this money from? It's been sitting in the account, you know, just, you know, it's been sitting there, and, you know, I just, you know, we need to give it away. And this and another. So we have a $1 million shootout every year. And, you know, somebody tries to get it, but unfortunately, you know, I don't know what happened.